Hello everybody, welcome to the extra content for June 2020. This is for patrons whose membership level is at $5 or higher. Thank you so much for your generous support here on Patreon. Welcome to all the new patrons. I know a lot of folks just joined this month, so I wanted to say a very warm welcome to you all. I want to let you know real quick before we jump into the content here that these extra videos come each and every month, and you can access the entire library of extra content by visiting the Posts page. Click the Posts tab at this page, and there are 5 featured tags or 5 featured topics. There's also a drop-down menu of other topics. Once you click on the topic, it will narrow down the library of posts to anything related to that topic. Open up a post, enjoy it. There'll be the video, the extra PDFs or jam tracks attached will always be at the bottom of the post in red lettering. Now, someday I'm going to have my own lesson website, and it will be a better search engine than what's here at Patreon. However, for now, this is what we have, so I hope that you are enjoying it, finding it easy to use. Remember, there is a FAQ, Frequently Asked Questions tab, right there at the post page. Open that up, and there is a post in there that will answer many of the frequent questions about how do I use this site. I obviously want you to get the most out of this. So, I have 5 things I want to share with you. This is going to be about My Blue Heaven. First one we're going to talk about is the chord decoration over C to C6. We're going to learn a cool chord decoration for A7. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to do that right now. So let's jump right in. If you haven't already, print up or open up and view the PDF for My Blue Heaven. It's at the bottom of the page. Everything else I'm showing you is going to be in oral tradition. So just take a piece of paper out, write it down. I'm not being lazy. I am encouraging you to write it down because that's how I learned and remembered things better. So just take a piece of paper, write My Blue Heaven, or write right on the same PDF of the song sheet. Just make these notes. I promise you, you will remember things, retain them longer than just looking at another piece of paper, another PDF that kind of gets lost in the shuffle of your computer's files. Thanks for going on this journey with me. Let's begin. From the beginning, the verse goes like this. I'll play and then I'll break it down. When whippoorwills call and the evening is nigh, I hurry to my blue heaven. Did the right and a little white line, I'll take you to my blue heaven. Now that's all we're doing right now. I'm going to break down the extra things that I did, not only right there, but in the other video that I posted for this, the one where I'm in the woods getting eaten by mosquitoes. The first variation is fairly simple. C going to the C6 chord. I would recommend, if you'd like to make it even more musical, is to have a different tone when you strum the open C6 chord. So by strumming closer to the bridge, you get a brighter sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. So whether you're strumming with the index finger, your thumb, or even a guitar pick, it's all the same. You can just get a different tone. Now you can later move from C to A7 using this single note idea of moving from the 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, and then hop down to the A7 chord. Let's apply that same principle to the A7 chord itself. Watch what I do. I go A7, and later in the 2nd verse I do it a different way. Okay, so I'm going to break down both of those for you right now. Step 1, strum your A7 chord. Make sure the hand is relaxed. Place your ring finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, 2nd finger, 2nd fret. And by the way, this in itself is a A13 chord, gorgeous sound. All right. When we move now the middle finger down to the first fret. We now have an A7. You could call it a flattened 13 or a sharp 5. It's a very, very intriguing sound. And then we release that finger, we go to A7. So what we're doing is we're adding this chromatic melody inside of the chord. Listen to me as I use it. When whippoorwills call and the evening is 9, 2, 3, 4, 1. So the way it works rhythmically is you strum A7 on 1, 1, then on 2, 3, 4, and then on 1 we're back to our good old open A7 chord. The other way that I played this was a little fancier. Alright, a lot of different variations, but essentially what you're doing is you're having the same melody, but you're going to play that with the first finger, and the second finger is going to support it with a harmony note right below. That harmony note is the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Let's first learn this slowly, of course. We pinch these 2 strings, thumb and index, move it down a fret, thumb and index, move it down another fret, thumb and index, and now move to A7. And you can make that last arrival to A7 a little tastier by first playing the open string and hammering. It takes a little practice to not only get the A7 hammer clean, but to hammer in a way that you don't block this string. There'll be a whole video on hammers and pull-offs, just like I did the other week with my speed lick video. You can see that post right here on Patreon, of course. So let's do this. And then I just follow it with a little, either the hammer, and then I go up, down, up, filling in the rhythm. Now, if you want to be even fancier, what you do, after you pinch, I'm actually going to have this finger ready here, and I'm going to pinch, then pick the open A string with my middle finger, move down, pinch, open, pinch, open, and now A7, up, down, up. Okay. Here's what it's like in context, but first let's review it, okay? This is the kind of stuff you want to write down. This is a great way to decorate your A7 chord, and guess what? You can use this in any song that has an A7 chord, this bluesy kind of sound. There you go, you've got some vocabulary to use. Let's review these 2, and then we'll move on to the next topic. 1, 2, 3, verse 1. When whippoorwills call and the evening is nigh, I hurry to my blue heaven, just to turn to the right and a little white line will lead you to my blue heaven. Yes, very, very good. And it's always a little different each time. Please don't be boxed into one way of playing your D7 chord. You can always play the open, add the pinky as you like. And as long as we're talking about different ways of playing D7, let's learn it. Topic number 2, you may like to pause the video and review that first material. Here we go, topic number 2. A very cool way to play D7. When you play your D7 chord, the first one we learn is this one. You can make a nice walk down, and this is used in the chord melody later, as we bar, have the pinky here. Now I have these fingers curled out of the way to show you, but now I'm going to place them on the strings. See, I'm decorating the space. And then release. Make sure you relax afterwards. Will lead you to my Blue Heaven. So that's a cool variation on D7. Here is an even hipper one. Check it out. Ring finger goes on the 5th fret of the 4th string. I should demonstrate this on a high G as well, and I will. This is your middle finger, 4th fret. Index finger, 2nd fret right away. This is a little bit of a stretch, so soften the hand. Make sure you're comfortable with this. And now your pinky, top string, 5th fret. This is a D7 chord, but it's colorful. It's colored with the 9th note, so it's a D9. Whenever you're learning a new chord like this, take the hand away so it relaxes, and secondly, you now have to find it all over again, which only serves to strengthen your memory cells, right? Here it is for those of you making a diagram. 3 at the 5th fret, pinky at the 5th fret, and then the inner strings are 2 and 1 at the 4th and the 2nd fret. If you play this on a high G, or by the way, a baritone, this would be a an A7, but it's D7 on this tuning. Sounds a little different with that high G. I love it either way. Very, very colorful jazz chord. When learning jazz chords and comfortable chords, listen deeply to them. Soften the hand. This is a more challenging chord than you may be used to. Now, the next chord is G7, so we could just go right down to G7. Or we can learn another way to play G7. Check this one out. We go from D7 here, this D9 chord, calling it D7 because that's essentially what it is. It's a pretty D7 chord, but it's officially a D9 chord. Now watch, I'm going to lift up. Ring finger and pinky are here. Index finger's here. So this is, if I take my middle finger out of the way, it looks like a big G7. This is the little G7. This is big G7, and you can finger it with the same exact fingerings, do, 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 as G7. It's stretched out. Or you could finger it with these fingerings, which makes it maybe a little easier because you have the same pinky stays in place. And what else it does is it creates a common tone. Are you strumming along with me? I think you are. Thank you. Relax. Yeah, very nice. And if you're comfortable with this fingering, there's one last G7 I want to share with you. You keep these two fingers the same. Plop the 4th finger here. You may recognize this as the F7 shape that's moved up to frets 4, 5, 3, and 5. But now watch what happens if we just let go of the pinky and let the string be open on top. You get a G9. Ooh, beautiful chord. D9, G9, C. Let's put these chords into context in the verse. 1, 2, verse 1, go. When whippoorwills call and the evening is nigh, I hurry to my, just let it ring, blue heaven, just to turn to the right. Wow, it's pretty involved. Notice what I did at the end. I went chromatically down to A7. It goes by quickly. There's only 2 beats. So it's 1 and a 2 and 4. Then, if you wish, you could play this D7 to G7 or G9. There's so many variations. There's not one way. That's why I don't want to write it out myself. I want you to connect the dots. And use this vocabulary in a way that makes sense to you. Follow your ear. Trust what you enjoy. All right? Part 3 of this video, this tier, $5 and up. By the way, if you're still watching, leave me a comment below. Say hello in the Patreon post or on YouTube. Thanks so much for being here. You know, this is the $5 tier. It's called licks, and these are chord licks. These are great things to put into your playing. Here's another lick. When you play A7 at the very end, I did this thing, and it was on the very, if you watch the video of me in the woods where I'm being eaten by mosquitoes, I do this thing at the end. Very common kind of bluesy sound over the A7 shape, or the dominant 7th chord shape. Now there's so many shapes it can get confusing, right? So let's just make it as clear as possible. We're playing A7 here, but there are other ways to voice your A7 chord. A lot of different ways. So this is a way that I really enjoy. It's up here in this 7th fret region, 7th fret position, first finger. So watch, the 1st and 2nd finger are on the 3rd and 1st strings. And then I take my ring finger and I place it there. You could, of course, use your pinky, but if you use the ring finger, it's going to be nice. Before we add this bluesy Jimi Hendrix kind of soul stuff, you could just right away use this very chord as a lick. It does not have to be complicated to make good music. All right. So when you play when just my honey and me, move up here, and the baby makes 3, happy in my old blue heaven. Yeah. So that's the other way to play A7. There are many ways, but this is one way. High G ukulele, you would be up here at the 7th fret. Slightly different sound with that high G. I like them both just the same. It's just music. Try not to get too hung up on the different tunings. It doesn't really make too much of a difference in the big picture. There are situations where, yes, there's uses for the different tuning, but let's just make music, okay? And we can explore all the details in the future. So, we got comfortable with this, I hope. Used my same ukulele zen technique of softening the hand, feeling the space in between. I post many videos about this topic. Let go, move down, let go, move up. Try to feel the space in between. And now we're ready for the bluesy lick. What we're going to have to do is move from here and right away shift our first finger down like that. Let me show you up close. See, my ring finger stays put, pivots on it, and then I go here. And once I'm there, I'm going to lift up the ring finger and hammer. And it happens kind of fast in the way I phrased it. But you don't have to go fast. You could go. All right, the rest of the lick is all inside of the chord. We're going to now go chromatically down to that note. And if I move from the 9th, 8th to the 7th fret, you'll notice that my first finger is ready to assume the same shape that it started on. So there's a lot going on here. First, I'm strumming the chord. I let go. Go like this. Hammer. Trying to hammer in a way where the note is clear and the top note is clear. These double stop hammers are tricky. I'm using my thumb, but you could pinch with these 2 fingers. And then you, if you wish, just go directly to the chord. There's no one way to do this. These are vocabulary ideas that you can, of course, manipulate and make them your own. That's why it's improvisational. If you wanted to move on to what I did before, you would play. And then the ring finger, I did a pull off, which, as I showed in the speed lick, is the ring finger plucking. Use all those tips I shared. Make sure you watch that video. There's 5 or 6 amazing tips. I think they really are helpful. Keep the finger tight and then relax it. Notice how it pulls off and plucks the string. it'll get stronger. It doesn't take just once. I've worked on this a long, long time. So eventually you can, by paying attention to the places where you relax, we practice making it relaxed. Pick, pull off, and then pick again. And of course you could just pick each note individually. See, pick, pick, pick. Now there's one other trick I want to share with you, but let's get into this one more time. And then after I went down, my thumb swept through. When learning new vocabulary, new ideas, great to take it so slow that your hand is relaxed and your brain can absorb the information. It doesn't serve your learning to rush. I know you already know this and you've heard me say this many times, but it's worth repeating. Always go slow. It's the fastest way to get there, really. And you'll retain it quicker. You'll retain it longer. Okay, so now you have this really cool extra idea on A7. You also have another one down here. Now there's one other thing I want to share with you, but here's a practice idea. You can just strum A7 and try adding the different ideas. Now I'm keeping the tempo soft and mellow. Try number 2. Try number 3. That's a very syncopated riff. 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Most of the accents are on the upbeats. Da, 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 da. The strong sounds are up, da, 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 up. All right, and that's what gives it its jazzy swing. So, this is quite a bit, yes? Are you enjoying yourself? Let me know by giving this post a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. So glad you're here as a patron. There's one more thing I want to share with you, and it is a lick that Django Reinhardt, the great gypsy jazz two-fingered guitarist, used. I ended the song with this. This particular passage, I'll call it solid gold. If I had just 10 cents for every time I played this in my old gypsy jazz band named Babik, you could listen to our recordings at my website, stufuchs.com. Had a wonderful run with this band. We went all over the country. We were featured on national radio and NPR. And if I had even just 10 cents for every time I ended a song with oh man, I'd be buying you all lunch. And let me tell you, it's a very common and great thing. Not only is it a great lick, but it will really strengthen your hand. So be patient with it. Django Reinhardt lost these two fingers in a fire. They were crippled in a fire, so he played mostly with these two fingers, his thumb, and he could use these two a little bit on the top strings. I used to learn Django Reinhardt's guitar solos just with two fingers. If you haven't checked out Django Reinhardt, I will leave his name down below. Do a search. Good music. Here is the chord shape. We're going to learn it right here. It's a double bar. Gee, I wonder why he chose to fret it this way. Probably because these two fingers were crippled. Django Reinhardt was not only a technical genius, but his music was so deep, so much musicality in it. This is not an easy one at first, okay? This is a bit more advanced, but you can get it. Step 1, develop some flexibility in the knuckle. Appreciate whatever flexibility is in your knuckle. Don't force it. Trust me, my friends, I could not do this. First time somebody showed me how to do this, a jazz guitarist, I said, "You're crazy, man. There's no way my knuckles doing that." It did eventually, but be patient, you will get it. So you place the middle finger there and you bar and then release. Build strength by putting a lot of space into it. As soon as you feel any tension, just relax. Great to have a cup of coffee or something to take your hand off and you give yourself a break when you practice. All right. Then you're going to bar with this. Now this bar is a little, it's deceptive, because I'm I'm not really barring all the strings. I'm just covering these two. And what this creates is a 6-9 chord. This is what it sounds like on a high G. Now, we could just sit and play this chord and learn and enjoy it for a long time. Used in a lot of bossa nova music. Jimi Hendrix used this tons. Alright, and of course it's all over jazz. It's a very colorful chord. It's worth hanging out with. Where I used this in the song was I started it way up here. And then I'm going to end the lick way up here. Ouch! You have to kind of angle the hand and get it in there. This is the extra content. Come on, folks, you asked for this. So join in with me. Slow it down, strum, release, go down a fret, strum, release, go back up. After this, you just go up one fret at a time until your middle finger is up here at the 15th fret. That's the dot up here. If you don't have a 15th fret, I'll show you another way. And then end on either C6 or just C or C7. This is how I used it. We're happy in my blue heaven. All right, one of many ways it might spill out. This is tricky, right? So check it out. You don't have to play the whole chord. Just play one note. I'm beginning here at the 10th fret. That's a G. All right. So the 15th fret is one octave above this note. Thanks so much. It's another place you can play it. This video is about a half an hour of us hanging out together, me sharing with you the same way that I learned. I would hang with jazz guitarists, classical guitarists, and if I didn't have a note paper with me, tough luck, Stu. You gotta... There were no tape recorders allowed in one of my teacher's studio. No tape recorders allowed. So this is, you know, he wouldn't... I don't know what he would have thought about this. But anyway, you get to watch my hands over and over again. At the bottom of every YouTube video is a little gear icon. You can click on that. There's ways to slow it down, of course. I hope this serves you well. Remember, it's better to learn one thing really well than 10 things not so well. And you will be able to now strum this song with more nuance. You got this D7 chord, D9 chord, but D7. You got this tasty G7. Sounds just as good on any tuning. And if you play a baritone, it's just different chords, okay? Instead of a D7, this would be a G7, okay? So, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. Please watch this video again, take notes, pause, rewind. Hope it serves you well. This should keep you busy until we meet again next month. Extra content like this each and every month right here on my Patreon page. Thank you very much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in another video soon. Take good care, stay healthy, keep on jamming. Thank you.